It is the weekend, and with AMD trading solidly, around the $177 mark, down just under 2% from its recent high, it leaves a little to speculate on. That move off the top wasn't dramatic, but it comes at a critical moment. Let's take a breath, look at what's behind the stock's resilience, and set the stage for what might happen next week. It's easy to see this dip and pin it on profit-taking. And you'd be right to expect some of that after a week where AMD surged. But I think there's more to the story. The rally was underpinning some very real shifts, some bullish, some kind of used but not abused, and some wispy with risk. The way AMD held its ground, even with geopolitical risks becoming more vocal, speaks to how much conviction there still is behind the AI and semiconductor narrative. What's driving that conviction? First, there's the deal to resume China exports, not to mention the notion of sharing 15% of AI chip revenue with the US government. Call it a controversy if you like, but from a strategic standpoint, AMD gained access to one of the most important AI markets on the planet. That clarity about revenue potential, even amid scrutiny, mattered to investors more than many expected. It wasn't free money, but it was certainty in a world where certainty is scarce. At the same time, talk about Nvidia's Rubin chip delay has lingered. That's giving AMD breathing room. If AMD's MI450 architecture and Alio's rack systems are ready to ship while Nvidia is still productizing, suddenly you're competing on talking points like first to production and cost per performance. That market window, even if temporary, could lead to key early revenue wins. Adding texture, AMD continues to build software and ecosystem momentum with ROCm. This isn't just gravy, it matters. The reason hyperscalers care isn't just the silicon. It's the ability to build, deploy, and scale AI models. If AMD's software stack can close the gap on CUDA, that's a defensible long-term advantage. Combine that with the hardware platform, and you've got a compelling, holistic proposition. Overlay macro conditions, and the backdrop is friendly. Inflation expectations are cooling again, expectations for rate cuts remain alive, and the tech sector has regained some of its shine. That helps keep speculative capital flowing. But again, AMD's move wasn't purely speculative, it had fundamentals behind it. That's the difference between a flash and a trend, momentum built on expectation, not hype. Next week, everything points toward anticipation for a clearer update. AMD's Financial Analyst Day on November 11th matters more than usual. It's where the roadmap, product pipelines, hardware validation, and cloud integrations get real. If management can communicate a confident timeline around MI450 deployments, articulate the ASIC roadmap, and reinforce customer traction, this could anchor valuations or even drive another leg higher. But politics and policy are waiting in the wings. The open letter from Senate Democrats raised concerns that this week about sharing revenue with the US government. That's real risk, even if it's not immediate. And President Trump floating up to 300% semiconductor tariffs could shake supply chains or spoil margin stability. It's not guaranteed, but it's on the radar. Markets hate uncertainty. The fact that AMD's share price didn't tank outright after those headlines is testament to how much of the bullish case is anchored in execution, not fleeting narratives. Looking at where the stock might head, if AMD holds support near $175 to $178, that could signal to traders and funds that it's ready to regroup rather than retreat. If we get pre-analyst day teasers, like supply deliverables, partner snippets, or early integration updates, that could jumpstart momentum ahead of the event itself. On a flip side, a dearth of updates or renewed policy tension could flatten movement until clarity returns. The technical path is clear. A break back toward the $180 to $185 zone could unlock traders' interest. But more important than chart levels will be the context that emerges from next week. So here's where we are, heading into the weekend. AMD showed strength under pressure. It didn't retreat because strategy matters and the story remains intact. Now, we're in a waiting room. One filled with both opportunity and volatility. The narrative isn't over, it's gearing up for its next act. And Thursday, heading into the weekend, there's a kind of quiet confidence that suggests people still believe in what AMD could do. If you're leaning into this as a long-term story, the takeaway is to stay engaged. Watch for soft signals, conference previews, partner announcements, ROCm updates, early product integrations. If you're a trader, the setup is classic: define risk, wait for setup or confirmation, and be ready to pivot when signals come. Either way, next week has the potential to be defining. Thanks for listening.